We also hope that everyone in today's Congress will learn the importance of responsible consumption, which will lead us to achieve our country's sustainable development goals as set by the United Nations. Under the leadership of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, let us all work together so that our economy can recover
Sustainable
faster
Development Goals
for a
as
greener
set by the
and
United
more
Nations.
inclusive post-COVID-19 future. Together, let us heal as one. Together, let us recover as one. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay tayong lahat.
Secretary Mon, you always inspire us in your messages, no, for the department and for our stakeholders. We couldn't agree more that to care for the environment is a shared responsibility among the individual consumers, the private sector, and the government. So, speaking of shared responsibility, we received a message of support from the president of the Philippine Amalgamated Supermarket Association Incorporated, or PAGASA, Mr. Stephen Kua. Let us read. The 402 member stores of the PAGASA join hands with our consumers in making sure that shopping at our supermarkets is safe, hygienic, and worth your time and money. Our members strive to provide consumers with products and services which not only offer value for money, but values that money cannot buy, such as contributing and giving back to sustainable communities. We support laws and regulations that impose order and fair trade practices for the benefit of consumers. Finally, we espouse an environment of cooperation among consumers, suppliers, and retailers in working towards a vibrant and sustainable economy. Happy Consumer Welfare Month. Thank you, Mr. Kua, and thank you, Pag-asa. To continue with our program, we will now get to listen to our esteemed guest speakers. May I call again Undersecretary Ruth B. Castello to introduce our first speaker.
Yes, thank you, Camille. I have the honor and the privilege to introduce to you our guest speaker for today. She serves currently as a member of the House of Representatives of the Philippines, representing the Lone District of the province of Antique. Prior to her election to the current position in May 2019, she was a three-term senator of the Philippine Senate, where she chaired the committees on finance, foreign relations, and climate change, among others. She gathered the most number of votes in two senatorial elections in 1998 during her first term and during her re-election in 2007. She's currently the United Nations ISDR Global Champion for Resilience and the United Nations FCCC National Adaptation Plan Champion, alternate member to the governing board of the Green Climate Fund, and the Commissioner of the Global Action on Adaptation. Her inspiring advocacy on environmental protection has earned her global recognition. She has been recognized as a global leader for tomorrow by the World Economic Forum and is a UNEP laureate. She was chosen as one of the summit champions for the high level Climate Vulnerable Forum virtual summit held in November 2018. And recently, CVF has appointed her as thematic ambassador for parliaments. Um, in 2013, our guest speaker was head of the Philippine delegation to the 37th UNESCO General Conference in Paris, France. In 2014, Japan Prime Minister Shinzo Abe invited her as the lone Philippine delegate to the World Assembly for Women in Tokyo, Japan. In 2015, our guest speaker was co-head of the Philippine delegation to the third United Nations World Conference on Risk Reduction in Sendai, Japan. And then in 2016, she was co-head of the Philippine delegation to the high-level signing of the Paris Agreement in New York. In 2017, she was head of the Philippine delegation to the 23rd session of the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. in Bonn. This was held in Bonn, Germany. In January 2018, she was the lone Philippine delegate to the 26th Asia Pacific Parliamentary Forum in Hanoi, Vietnam. And then in March 2018, she was also head of the Philippine delegation to the 138th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union in Geneva, Switzerland. In April 2018, she was alternate head of the Philippine delegation to the World Bank Group International Monetary Fund spring meetings in Washington, D.C. And then in May following, she was the head of the Philippine delegation to the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Bonn, Germany. In December 2019, she was head of the Philippine delegation to the COP in Madrid, Spain. A cum laude graduate at the University of the Philippines, National Defense College of the Philippines, top-notcher, and graduate of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Command and General Staff College. Our guest speaker is a reserve officer of the Philippine Air Force with the rank of a full colonel. She was also conferred the degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa by the University of the Philippines. For her efforts to strengthen bilateral relations with other countries, she was bestowed with the title of Knight in the French National Order of the Legion of Honor, Knight in the Order of Merit of the Italian Republic, and the Award of Distinction by the European Union. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce to you the most fitting, our guest speaker for today, no less than the Honorable Deputy Speaker, Lauren Legarda.
Thank you so much, Undersecretary Ruth Costello, for that very comprehensive introduction. And I'm very happy to join you, Secretary Mon Lopez, all the Undersecretary, ASEX directors of the Department of Trade and Industry, our MSMEs. As you know, in my term as senator, I authored the MSME law, adding the micro enterprises, which is the backbone of our economy, into the law for protection as well. I'm glad that you are embracing the issue of sustainability and climate change and resilience in the Department of Trade and Industry. Sec Lopez and I, the DTI family, and I have been working closely together in the promotion of sustainability, in the promotion of micro enterprises. And so today is such a fitting moment for us to restate our purposes, our policies, and you who execute and implement the laws that I have authored in my 3 terms in the Senate are the ones who are responsible and accountable to make sure that I have authored work. So I'm so glad that you have this forum, although virtual, today. So good morning to the local chief executives who are also present here, to our business leaders, to our fellow advocates, to all of you joining us. I'm so happy to join you virtually because we have significantly lessened our carbon footprint in this kind of setting. This year's observance of the Philippine Consumer Welfare Month is vital as we grapple with the COVID-19 pandemic and as the challenges in terms of food security and sustainable production and consumption have dramatically increased these quarantine months. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, estimates that 59 million Filipinos suffer from moderate to severe lack of consistent access to food. The number of severe and moderately food insecure Filipinos climbed to 44.9 million, but this was way back in 2014 to 16, according to the State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World Report released only last July of 2020. The FAO defines severely food insecure as those who have gone a day or days without eating due to lack of financial capacity and other resources, while the moderately food insecure people are those who have experienced uncertainties about their ability to obtain food and have been forced to compromise on the quantity and the quality of the food that they consume. A nationwide survey with the social weather station SWS in September, meanwhile, also revealed that an estimated 7.6 million Filipino households experience involuntary hunger or hunger due to lack of food at least once during the height of the coronavirus pandemic. This is a hunger incidence rate of 30.7%, the highest since the previous record of 23.8% in March of 2012. How then can we push for sustainable consumption and production during and beyond this COVID-19 pandemic, which would entail a lot of remodeling